This is just an introduction to a concept called thematic progression. From my point of view, it's a way that I can analyse texts in terms of the sentence structure. And importantly, it's a way to be able to write with cohesiveness, that is, a logical progression. And doing so makes it easier for your reader to understand what you're trying to communicate. So what you should be able to do after this introduction is be able to define in your own words what thematic progression is and identify different patterns to identify what we call the theme of the sentence and also the rheme. And the theme is given information, the rheme is new information. The other thing to be able to be successful is to get some text and be able to highlight or identify what the theme is, where the main verb is and what the main verb is, and also to identify the rheme. And there are a number of patterns which are used particularly in describing and explaining, which you will be able to identify as well. And they'll be useful in those particular text structures. So what do we mean by the theme? Well, that's the given information. It's generally what the sentence is about. And we say it's given because the reader has at some point already been introduced to this information. It's easy to locate in the sentence because it's the part of the sentence that comes before the main verb. Now, don't be too concerned about what a main verb is or a finite verb. You'll get the hang of it. So the rheme is considered new information, and it's what the theme is about. Locating the rheme is easy because it's everything that comes and includes the verb, the main verb. Here's a simple example. What is matter? Okay, so we know we're talking about matter, so matter is the theme of the first sentence. Is the main verb, and everything that follows that is the rheme or the new information. In the second sentence, we're still talking about matter, that is the theme or the given information. The main verb in this case is exists, and everything else that follows is new information about matter. So let's now take a look at some patterns. There are three main patterns that you'll find. The first pattern we call theme to theme. This means there's the same theme at the beginning of every sentence. So typically that's when you're describing something. The theme stays the same, and we'll look at some examples shortly. The next type is rheme to theme. And what that means is that the rheme from the previous sentence becomes the theme in the next sentence, and that structure is typical for explanations. Then we have a combination or more complex patterns which involve multiple themes from a single rheme. So here's an example of what we mean by theme to theme. So the structure has a constant theme. So each sentence, each sequential sentence has the same theme. And these, as I mentioned, are typical of descriptions because you're describing features of something and you're generally using verbs such as is, are, has or have, or verbs that have the same sort of function such as exists. So the rheme to theme pattern has a changing theme, and generally the rheme or the new information from the previous sentence becomes the theme of the following sentence. So in this example, we've got an object reflects rays of light. So the new information light becomes the theme of the next sentence. So these rays of light travel through the lens. The new information here, the lens, becomes the theme of the next sentence. So this is a typical pattern for explanations. They generally, can show sequence of events or cause and effect. There are different multiple themes. Here's one of them where you've got multiple themes stemming from a single rheme. So, for example, we're talking about matter, and it's made up of particles that can exist in 3 different states: solid, liquid, gases. So these different states become themes for following sentences. And it's typical in academic writing or report writing or text involving analysis. And that's thematic progression in a nutshell.